Alright, I wanted to make a video explaining how the debug menu works. So just push start in the title screen, then you can push B to go back. Now you have a bunch of options. I'll go explain them. First we have versus mode. Then we're going to click Dironto. Now this lets us set up a match. Char select lets us pick our characters. At the end of the list you'll find the boss characters and wireframes. You're going to need a special code to make sure that they don't crash the game, which I will include. Down here you can set all characters to be the same if you wanted to. If you have the 6-man melee code on, this is where you select player 5. Oh, and make sure not to click none, otherwise the game will crash. Scale changes the character size. You'll notice that it doesn't go down below 0.2, but if you go above 0.5 or 5.0, you'll be able to go down to 0.1. Another feature is that if you go past 5 and you try to select it, it won't make your character bigger, but there's a code to let you pick values above 5. Then we have kind select, human is a player, and then CPU, and then demo, which is a CPU that I think can be controlled. You plug a controller in, and then none means you don't want any player there. And of course this controls player 5 and 6, this one down here. But you can also use it to quickly set the other ones. Color is just what your character's color is. Subcolor lets you change your character's color a bit more. So 1 is when you're playing the same character in team mode. 2 is when you have 3 guys playing the same character. So these are light and dark. Then this is a black silhouette, and there's a gray silhouette. This is a pink silhouette, and I think there's a code that, otherwise you need to have a special code to turn this on, otherwise the game will crash. Damage set is how much damage you start with, but it could also be used for stamina if you have, I'll explain that later, actually. Then we have offense ratio, which is how much knockback you cause. So if it's high, you'll cause a lot of knockback. If it's low, you'll cause a little bit. Then we have defense ratio. It's how much you get knocked back. If it's high, you'll get knocked back a lot. If it's low, you'll get knocked back a little bit. Then we have CPU types. This is basically a bunch of CPUs. The names are kind of self-explanatory. Some are kind of interesting. For example, struggle will attack CPUs, whereas the normal CPU will just attack, for the most part, humans. And then another one is SPL, W, Link, and Samus, which constantly use their down Bs. EV Zelda, which is just, if you're playing as Zelda or Sheik, it'll constantly transform if it's playing as Zelda or Sheik. CPU levels, if you put it to 0, the CPU will not do anything. Team select your team. Green and blue actually have the names flipped. And the team select won't matter unless you do team battle down here. This is where you pick which stage you're playing. Some of them, like dummy and test, will crash the game unless you have a certain code on. Same for the trophy stage, and the temple, maze, and mushroom kingdom will crash unless you have a special code on. Alright, then we have the rules. This is actually pretty self-explanatory until we get the flags. This will normally just turn rumble on and off, but if you have the flags code on and you put this to 1, it'll make that character play as stamina. And there's a bunch of other options like that you can have it on. Like these numbers all have meaning. I'll post it below. Alright, let's go back to the main menu. We have result test, which just lets you mess around with the result screen. So just pick something here and then it'll play that kind of result screen. And then we have the language, self-explanatory. Publicity is interesting. If you see something on here and it says on and you push A button, it will erase your memory card. But since I have the 6-man melee code, I don't have that danger. Instead, this is where I pick who player 6 is. Going down to DB level, you can change how much power you have. The only interesting one I think is debug, run, and develop, which I think do the same thing. If you go back to the title screen and you push X, you can activate a sound test that has more options. And if you push start, you can just pause the game whenever. And furthermore, there's a bunch of other stuff that you can do inside of battles. I'll detail that down below. The 1-key debug flag just determines how characters' feet collide with the ground. No idea what this does, and this I don't really understand. Okay, so then the last section is mode team test. It has a bunch of the names of developers. Let's go by these one by one. This just cycles through, like, you know, Giant Melee, etc., and this just crashes the game. And then we have Otogoro. This lets you change some of your Melee records. I don't know that you would want to do that. It lets you get all the trophies though if you click on this, and here's the 2 special trophies. This just teleports you to Mushroom Kingdom and, you know, the maze. This lets you pick which stage in adventure mode you want to start on. This lets you do the same for classic, and this does it for all-star. Nagasima. This just lets you play some of the movies in the game. Kim. This just plays some of the notifications, like, hey, there's a memory card inserted, that kind of stuff. This is special messages right here. I think this displays the trophy stuff. Here's the, you know, adventure or whatever mode ending. This lets you do it just lets you play around with the title cards for classic and all-star mode. Kumite sub, I think, will crash the game, and progressive tests. I think that's something for, well, don't worry about that. If you don't know what it is, you don't need to know. And then this lets you play a character approaching and challenger approaching. This lets you pick your event match, and then this lets you play the credits, and this lets you do some interesting stuff, but it can format your entire memory card, deleting not just Smash Brothers.